and personal financial literacy, but not in the way that you have known. This is not your grandpa's financial literacy, as Bill uses his 30 plus years in the financial industry to stretch your financial box from, let's say about a 30,000 foot view of things. Bill and his guests have helped hundreds of clients achieve and surpass their financial goals. If you have any questions, please email Bill at Billhaase, that's Bill at BillHaase.com, or reach out to him right here at 216thenet@gmail.com. Today, providing proper expectations. We'll just let this fade out, Bill. Good morning.
Hey, Ken, how you doing?
I am happy, healthy, and terrific. Thank you, sir.
That's awesome. You know, I said I wanted to wait and say congratulations.
Thank you.
You are about to gain a son-in-law.
Yes.
And that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. My oldest daughter, she and her boyfriend, now fiance, have been together for 7 years. So on their 7-year anniversary, he pulled the ring out and said,
so this is her first engagement?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so very excited. He is, as far as human beings go, an incredible human being. And right now he's in medical school, going to be a surgeon. He wants to be I think he wants to be a trauma surgeon.
Okay.
So
I need a heart surgeon in about 5 years.
Yeah. Or later this week.
This week. We'll see.
That's right.
We'll see. Definitely by the weekend.
Right.
If things don't go according to plan. But yeah, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a great life event. Get ready for some fun.
The fun has already begun. Well, it's you know me a little bit, but we talked a little bit about the green room, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put together a spreadsheet, a budget. I'm going to put together subfolders for communication.
Oh, you mean a plan?
A plan.
Oh, wow.
And not.
We should do a show about that.
Well, yeah,
making a plan.
Making a plan.
Because we never talk about that.
No. And of course, my daughter and my wife are, they're scribbling their thoughts and names and things on separate pieces of paper. Well, they're not in the same household. So there's going to be, this, that, cross off, so I'm just like, we'll have a subfolder for guests. We'll have a
Yeah. Well, it's great that technology allows you to do these kinds of things now and to coordinate, because, my son got married on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
This year or past year. I don't know how you say that because it went over.
Yeah. Both.
We did not take advantage of that type of technology, but that, again, that's because it was our son, not my daughter.
Yeah. Not so much invested.
Yeah.
A good amount, but not enough.
Oh, yeah. It's still a good down payment on a house or a car just to have your son get married.
Or from the way you and I have rolled in the past, that's 2 cars.
Yeah. Right. Well, 2 Ford Pintos.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's but so that kind of rolls us right into this topic today of providing proper expectations.
Yeah.
As I said to you in the green room, I don't think any of us can get away from being guilty of not providing proper expectations in life, in business, and whatnot. And there are some people who are very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
But most are not. And even somebody who, like me, who has so many different things going on, you'd think I'd be better at it because it's more efficient. It keeps you more organized. You can, knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
Then know how to prepare. I told you I was having the conversation with my daughter.
Yeah.
She rented an apartment and she showed up to get the keys, and it was like 6:30 at night, and they said, come on by, get the keys. She came by and they said, oh, by the way, we need $900 and we need it in a cashier's check. And she goes, well, I'm out of state. I'm still not letting certain people know where she is.
Yeah.
And my bank is out of state and it's after banking hours, and you never told me I needed to bring this money to you to pick up when I picked up the keys.
Right. And when you're in Antarctica, like she is. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Don't tell anybody. But, so, again, setting expectations now. And we also talked about, all right, why does this person say you need a cashier's check? Why can't you do a Zelle, a Venmo, a wire of funds?
Yeah.
And there are many different ways
An
to move money.
electronic check.
There's a lot of different ways, right? A lot of different ways to move money nowadays. And my daughter was not thrilled with this, and I get that, because none of us are thrilled with the fact when the unexpected happens and it costs money.
Yeah.
Especially. And typically a lot of times it does. But I said, you can't get mad at the person, because that person may have only been trained to do and say that.
Yeah.
And they may not know better. Or maybe they do know better, but they're not sure if that's okay to say. Because again, they haven't been properly trained, and that could be a whole nother 10 shows. But setting proper expectations is so extremely important. I can tell you personally, it can reduce a great deal of stress for you and for the people that you're working with or dealing with.
Huge amount.
Yeah. It just, why don't we do more of this? And is that part of the great financial illiteracy that we have going on? I can see how it could fit in there, and I could argue both ways on this, but
yeah. Well, yes, I think so. Because in most houses, and most people growing up, is, again, it's not talked about.
Yeah.
And if it is talked about, it's a heated discussion.
It's
not like,
I think a lot of parents will tell their kids what their expectations are for school, and they might do so in sports.
Correct.
I'm not a fan of that in either category. One of the biggest stresses I know when cell phones first came out was that parents then could get in touch with their kids in college much more readily and easily than ever before. And they knew that kid was having an exam at 11 a.m. and he was going to get done at 12:30. And mom at 12:31 says, how'd it go?
Hey, how'd it go?
It's like, and what kind of stress is that to put on a child? Excuse me. Not a fan.
No.
But we every day we work in our business, and we have to set expectations with everybody we work and deal with. If you don't, you're going to get disappointed all the time, right? Every day, because you had that great example we talked about with the elephant.
Yeah.
Right. Go. And I'll let you bring it up. It's your story.
So the story goes, if I was at a networking event, referral group yesterday, and we were talking about just this topic, interestingly enough. And so I said, hey, if I told everybody to draw an elephant, we'd have 15 different sized elephants, 15 different looking elephants.
Mine would be a stick elephant.
Yeah. Your own interpretation of an elephant. And you all would have done it, but all 15 different outcomes. However, if I were to say I need a 2-inch tall elephant, the ears have to be 3/4 of an inch, the tail has to be a 1/2 inch, the legs should be 5/8 of an inch. If I get very specific with what I expect this elephant to look like, we would have 15 of the same looking elephants.
I'd still do a stick elephant, right? So it wouldn't all be this, but you'd be closer. Right? You'd be closer to what you're trying to get.
Right. So with that said, we don't do that. I'm in my still early 50s, and I would say that, again, my philosophy and my age group's philosophy is, okay, you tell me what to do. I'm going to go do it to the best of my ability. If you tell me it needs to be tweaked or wrong, I put my head down, I go and do it again.
Yeah. Right.
Where a lot of the younger workforce and people go, you asked for an elephant. I gave you an elephant. That's not the elephant I wanted. You asked for an elephant. So they're very literal. So if you don't set those expectations and are very clear about those expectations, you'll get an elephant.
And it costs you time and money.
Yep.
Every single time.
And then we go, they're lazy.
And part of this involves proper training and And again, we need to think things through
Yeah.
so that when we are working with someone else, and we have in our mind, we have expectations.
Absolutely.
Every single time. That's why we're asking you to do this.
Right.
And because we have an expectation of this is how it's going to look when it's done. But if you don't tell them, what your expectation is, then how do they know?
Right.
It's like putting a recipe together. Same thing, right? I give a recipe to 10 different people. They'll make it 10 different ways.
That's right.
And it'll taste 10 different ways.
10 different ways.
So it's quickly become a pet peeve of mine. And as I said before, I'm as guilty as anybody, and we all are. But I see it now that I, for the past week or so, have kind of focused in on that. I see it so often, everywhere. It's crazy. Everywhere you go, you go to the grocery store. You expect to be able to get in line, get checked out real quick. It's not always that way. I see the person, here's a real pet peeve of mine, right? The woman in front of me sits there and watches about 50 items go through. And then the cashier runs everything up and says, okay, you owe me $182,000. And the woman goes, oh, and then starts pulling her wallet out of her purse. I mean, it's like, did you not expect to have to pay for this? I mean, why do you have to wait till the very last flipping second, and then right. And then you're going to count out the coins, and it's just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't give you this coupon.
And it's funny, but we have expectations all over the place.
Yeah.
Go to a restaurant, you have expectations for the person serving you, the food quality.
And it goes kind of both ways, right? So it goes from top to bottom, bottom to top. As an employee of yours, let's say, here's my expectations of you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, I don't want to say that. But if you have a good leader, hey, the leader will basically say, and here's what you can expect from me, my team, and how we run things.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're not hearing that. On the other side of things, don't give me those expectations if you're not planning on living up to them as a leader.
Huge.
Right?
Huge. Don't say my door is open and then keep it closed. Right. Right.
You're right with it.
With a big do not enter sign on it. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's I've learned in leadership, and especially running the studio, that by really laying out crystal clear what the expectations are, really laying out, here's what you're going to get when you join the DDOE, 21/6 and at family. And if I'm not living up to that, hold me accountable. Yeah.
No, I hear you, and it's in every aspect of our lives too. Look, it's with your relationship with your spouse, it's with your relationship with your kids and extended family and whatnot. It's what brings along frustration so much that we can avoid. And boy, folks, we need to learn how to reduce the stress in our lives. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you've placed a lot of expectations upon yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then you also have to look to others to support what you're trying to do and your expectations.
Right.
So it does help to kind of let them in on that, so that you can reduce that stress, reduce the frustration, reduce the time it takes to get something done efficiently. So many good things can come of it, and yet we don't practice it. We talk about it all the time, right? We've been in chambers, we've been networking groups. Yeah. This subject comes up, and yet, a week later, we completely forget all about it. And I think we really do need to be more conscious of this. We need to practice this, because it's like anything else.
So why is that? Why do we not follow through on that, or why don't we?
We have part of it, I think, is, look, I expect you to be here every Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. I just, why do I have to worry about that? I don't need to think about that anymore.
Right.
But I've been here and you have not been here.
Yeah.
On occasion. Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, uh-oh.
We had a pinch hitter.
And we get a pinch hitter and whatnot. But, and that's fine. I'm just saying my expectations were unspoken to you.
Yeah.
But, I just think every Wednesday morning I show up and you're here. But we never talked about that.
Is it that is it that we get comfortable and so we don't give those expectations?
Well, now I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
If I don't, I can drop that out of my mind. I don't have to think about it. It's one less thing to think about because I expect them to do this job this way, and I don't have to think about it anymore until they don't, and it comes up, and it's like, well, what do you think your job is? What did I tell you to do?
Right.
That's where the frustration comes in because we don't support it. We don't support we don't train and support those around us. And, it's beneficial to everybody around us, everybody that we deal with, everybody we talk to, especially at home. Your wife expects you to, maybe be there for dinner. Or maybe you're expected to make the dinner.
Yeah.
There's just, and spouses do this all the time, right? They expect something from the other.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen. Then we start doing the dance.
Mm-hmm.
We start playing a game. You got the long face or the scowl going,
the tone
of your voice or whatever, so that you can inform the other person that you're not happy with them.
Yeah.
And now the dance starts, right? Okay. Wonder why she's not happy. What did I say? What did I do? What did I not fail to do? And we do that dance until eventually it comes out.
Right.
Right.
And husbands are notorious, right? I'll get it.
Yeah.
It wasn't on her. The expectation was on her timeline, not mine.
Yeah.
I told you I'd do it.
Right. And quite often we find those types of engagements, let's call them, a waste of time.
Yeah. It's when we have a contract, when we've got a written contract, now there's some expectation there. And I'm going to hold you to the contract.
When I borrow money, I sign a contract that I'm going to pay it back.
Right. Or we're going to come get it back.
Yeah. Right? And that's the expectation. We're going to send Joey and Tony and Paulie after you if you don't pay me back.
The crew.
Send
the crew over. But a lot of times when we're leaders and we're running our business, and let's go back to a relatively small business. So let's go with any, and I always use plumbing. It's just what I use. I'm a good plumber. I got a truck. I slap my name on the side of it. I hire now an employee, and I expect you to do everything like I do.
And be professional.
Right.
And drive the speed limit and not crash the truck and, not overcharge.
But I never give you those expectations.
No, right. And I expect you not to use that truck and those tools and everything for your own personal use.
Correct.
To make money on the weekends. Yeah, but again, not spoken.
Right.
So, that allows somebody some leeway. Well, gee, he didn't say I couldn't do it.
Yep.
So I'll wait and ask for forgiveness as opposed to permission.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm really guilty. But yeah, I mean, it's that way. You hire somebody, and those people are representing your business, and yet your expectations are that they're always going to be in a professional manner.
Right.
And until you learn that maybe they haven't been.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, what happened here? Because it's not easy always for an employee to be working in your best interest.
Mm.
You get clients that call up or people that scream at you and holler at you and yada yada. It's hard to sit there and take it and be polite.
Yeah.
But again, when you're dealing with folks that have not provided you with proper expectations, I highly recommend that a method of communication is keep in mind your end goal, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to get, and keep in mind the fact that any and all forms of communication in your negotiations can be used against you and kill a deal.
Sure.
So you have to, let's say, suck it up, Buttercup, and still act professional, mannerism, and organize. And it's okay to say, okay, I didn't expect that, but now what can I expect going forward?
Yeah.
And they may not give you a good answer.
Right.
It may still be something that deals can go on and on and on, as you well know, with the deals that I get involved in, that you think we'd be done in 3 weeks, and then you're 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
And there's other folks that deal with things. I mean, that look out a year and such. And but I think it is important to try to set expectations with every aspect of what you're doing.
And the expectations really come down to either communicating or lack of communicating.
Right.
And we have to be able to communicate at a level. I've seen a ton in my career, the condescending expectation, right? Tone in the voice.
Why did I have to say it?
Exactly.
Really?
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And I've worked with a lot of people that are just horrible at giving expectations, because their mindset is, I can't believe I have to go over this with you. And they come across as that condescending.
Well, we have all different kinds of people out there, right? There are folks that are entrepreneurs, that are just risk takers. They go out there, put it all on the line.
Yep.
Then there are those who are entrepreneurs but aren't willing to make too many decisions here. Then there's folks that are they just want to get paid to do a job, and that's what they're going to do. And those are kinds of folks that typically don't set good expectations, because I don't want to make decisions. I want to be told what to do. And there's plenty of folks, and there's room for all kinds of folks out there. But there's a lot of folks out there throughout my career that I knew that were absolutely afraid to death of ever making a decision that had an impact on anything.
Yeah. So as it comes down to that, how do you deliver your own expectations to yourself? You're in business for yourself. And how do you, and again, that's where a lot of people fail, is they don't set expectations for themselves. Or
way to bring us full circle here. It's called planning, executive summary, and have a plan in place. Because if you don't have a plan, you really don't have a business. If you don't take the time to put a plan together, you don't have a business. You have a hobby.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about this last week, and that's so very important. And then go back to that plan, whether it's every week, once a month. Am I still fulfilling what I said I wanted to do this year, what I outlined to do this year? And have I made strides towards that end goal that I want to reach? Right. Look, folks, I spent a lot of my career without plans. I spent a lot of it without goals. I remember I was a food broker, and one of the guys in the office had a picture of a really beautiful Corvette on the wall. And he did that because the owner of the business said, that's his goal. This year, he wants to make enough money to be able to buy that car. And funny thing is, he did wind up buying that car. Now, he had to take out a pretty good loan on it, but he was able to get that car. So he achieved his goal. Yeah. Now on my desk, all I had was a lot of papers. I didn't have any pictures. I was not accustomed to an office scenario, so I didn't have family pictures. I didn't have a picture of what I wanted, because it's not always a material thing that I look for. That I want.
And it doesn't motivate me either.
It just doesn't. But it's a funny thing because my father used to say to me all the time, because I just don't get it. Money doesn't drive you, and yet you're in the business of money. And I'm like, yeah, it's not the money, it's the game.
Yeah.
But again, if you have to hold yourself accountable, right? You want to, again, we talked about this last week, hobby versus a business, and putting a plan together. And I know you hear it over and over and over again, folks, but I'm telling you, if you don't have a plan, you don't have a real business.
Yeah.
You just don't.
You don't.
Because you have no idea, you have no purpose.
Or even a job, really. If you're an employee, you can.
Then what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you working for? What are you trying to? I just want to make money. Well, and you're not, right?
Right.
Typically, you're not, and this can go on for years.
Yeah.
And we talk about doing the same thing over and over again. But
and that, if you want to talk about finance, people don't plan for their money either. I mean, if
no.
you want to talk about financial,
well, they don't know how to do that.
If you understand, okay, you're an employee, that's perfect. And let's take it to the most simplest. Back you're working on the line building cars out here in Belvedere, and you got to twist this nut on. That's your job. Well, what's your plan? I mean, they tell you what's going to happen, but what's your plan?
Here's a funny thing. People will plan for their vacation.
Yeah.
Right? They'll plan a year in advance
or
for
more.
This vacation. We're going to put money away because it's going to cost us $3,000 to go on this vacation, take the family for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll plan that out a year in advance and keep going. And then they go on vacation. And I guarantee you, almost every time, they wind up spending more money than they had ever planned to spend. Right? For whatever reasons, costs were increased. They go out to dinner more often. Little Billy breaks his surfboard, needs a new $500 surfboard or something. That happened to me when my family, we went skiing on a ski vacation. And the very first day I lost my ski. It went over a cliff and broke. So Dad had to buy a new set of skis because we were going to be there for 10 days. Well, what are you going to do with a 11-year-old kid for 10 days if he can't ski and on a ski trip? So things happen.
Yeah.
But, you can plan for that too. But we don't plan out our lives.
Right.
Right. Because we don't, some people might argue, oh, I just let life happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. But a lot of us are lazy. All of us are lazy to some extent. And we just don't want to take the time. We really don't. Or we think, oh no, that's too putting me in a box or something like that. It's it's a plan is a guide. It is not a set in stone.
Right.
This must be done.
Right.
No plan is perfect. All plans need to be adjusted, shifted, shaped throughout as you go. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're accomplishing more than your plan had set up to do. Because you have this plan now, and all of a sudden you're on this path, and it's really going well, and it's like, holy cow, this does work.
Yeah.
So you adjust, or maybe you find out a month or 2 or 3 months in, hey, I'm behind in where I thought I would be or where I wanted to be. Why? What do I need to do? What do I need to adjust? Let's talk about planning for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they tell you if you get out of college, there's the old saying, put 15% away.
Yeah.
You really need between 10 and 15% a year to be put away. But people don't do that, right? And then they get married, and then they buy a house, and then they wake up one day and you got 2 kids and 2 cars and mortgage, and you're like, how did I get here? And then your kids go to college, and then your kids get out of college, and you think they're off the payroll, and most times they maybe not.
Right.
But then you're in your mid-50s here, and all of a sudden you're saying retirement. That's the next thing on the checkbox list, and that's really when as I was doing retirement strategy work for folks, that's the age bracket that I saw most often.
Yeah,
and and they would be and oftentimes so far behind it you can't catch up.
Right.
You're too late. It's here are some things you can do. And here I can design a plan to provide you with expectations for while you're in retirement, what kind of funds you're going to have to live on, where they're going to come from, and how we're going to protect them and things of that nature. But again, we don't necessarily feel that that's an important factor to think about when we're young. And so we don't set those expectations. We don't make plans. Most people don't even know that a 401k, most people think a 401k was a replacement for the pensions that we used to have. It was actually supposed to be an enhancement of pensions.
Oh, geez.
It was originally designed to enhance the pension and Social Security income that you would get. Hence, you would only put 3% away.
Right.
Okay. It didn't take a whole lot of money, but it really gave you that extra boost to make sure, things were hunky-dory when you retired. Great idea until then the pension guy said, "Oh, gee, let's just dump all the risk on you and take it off of us because we're not making any money at this anymore. And now we're at risk for managing all these funds. It costs us money. So we're just going to get rid of it."
Hey, you're listening to 216 Net. This is Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. If you have questions or you want to be part of this show, feel free to reach out to Bill at billhaase.com. That's Bill at BillHaase.com. Or reach out to him here at 216 Net. Just put Innovative Strategies in the subject line. We'll make sure he gets it. Listen, I promised these folks I'm going to bring this up because
what you got?
Scott and I had him on our show on Friday on the grounds. It's the USASA Golf Classic. So the USASA is the United States of America Snowboard and Free Ski Association.
Okay.
We here in America are the only country who don't pay our amateur athletes to represent us in the Olympics. So it costs these young athletes, middle-aged athletes, any Olympic athlete, a lot of money for training and competing and gear and stuff like that. So Dana Wilson from here in town created the United States of America Snowboarding and Free Ski Association, and they raise money and give to these athletes to represent the United States of America in the Olympics. And they've got their third annual Golf Classic here on September 16th. Right here in town, and it's great that they still have foursomes available. And if you go to usasa.org, that's usasa.org, you can read all about it. But they're going to have four-time Olympian and Beijing Olympic gold medalist Nick Baumgartner, Kelly Clark, 5-time Olympian, a 3-time Olympic medalist, Louis Vito, a 2-time Olympian, 8-time X Games medalist and Dancing with the Stars contestant. Garrett Garros is a U.S. Paralympic team and Beijing Olympic silver medalist. So they're going to have all these great people here on the 16th. Now, if you can't golf or you don't want to golf, and you go out to usasa.org, you can go to their silent auction. And they've got that rolling right now. And let me tell you, they've got some great things. This isn't, pancakes at IHOP. They've got the Arcos Caddy sensor set, so you can digitally see how far you are, all that good stuff, and learn, what kind of clubs, all that good stuff. They've got a remote control, what is it? The remote control golf bag, so you walk and it follows you.
Oh yeah,
which is cool out there. But
I want the surfboard one.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Those are, I haven't seen them, but
yeah. So it's the M7 Moto Caddy. Listen to this, out there as well as a golf escape for 4 to Costa Rica.
Ooh.
So you go in and you play the Championship La Iguana golf course. It offers a par 72. Ted Robinson designed the layout, the whole works. It doesn't cover airfare. Everything else, though, is taken care of. You're like at an all-inclusive resort in Costa Rica. That's huge.
Nice.
So that's a cool thing. They've also got a foursome to Myrtle Beach, which is nice. And they've got a foursome to Tennessee where you get to play golf and sample whiskey.
Good combination.
Good combination. So there's just a ton of good stuff. They've got portable patio sets. This you name it, they've got it. They've got a dancing flamingo leather blade putter cover. They've got 2 Monster Energy beach bags. I mean,
Yeah,
this is a big deal.
It's a big deal. Quality stuff.
Yeah.
I love to support that. Again, that's another show we could talk about, is supporting our amateur athletes. I'm all in favor of paying them.
Yeah.
I think college athletes should be paid. They're making money for people.
Mm-hmm.
They should get paid.
Yeah.
But again, we could argue that. But what's really important when you do get involved with giving, it actually, to give money is better than anything else.
Yeah.
Because and what I mean by that is you can do those tabs on the top of the cans and everything else. Those are actually worthless.
Right.
You actually don't do anything with them. You do you give food to the food bank. That's nice, but if you give them money, they have the buying power of 10 times the food that you're giving them. You spend $2 on a can of soup, you give them $2, they get 5 cans of soup.
Right.
So you think about that. And, we talk about, and I'm not going to name company names, but there are companies out there that you buy a sock, they give a sock away. You buy a shoe, they give shoes away.
Yeah.
And you think that's great charity. No, you spend $30 on that sock. That costs them $2 to make. Right. And so they cost them $2 to give you your sock, $2 to give a sock away, and they still make $26.
Right.
That's not really charity. And the worst part about that is they give it away to certain parts of the world where they show you the commercials that it's desolate, right?
Yeah.
And they have nothing. The reality is what you've done is you've cut into their industry. You've cut into their jobs. You're taking jobs away and industry away by giving that stuff to these folks.
Yeah.
And so now they're actually, you're creating that environment for more poverty. People don't know this stuff.
Right.
This is how money works. And this is what the show is about, is kind of helping you understand, how does money work? And we are so, what's the word I'm looking for? We're so preset in our minds about what we think that we don't listen very well. And again, let's get on to setting expectations. When the expectations for throwing this event are to raise quality funds, and that's cash, right, to help cover the costs for these Olympians. And it's a shame. But then, people are going to argue, okay, are they then amateur anymore? Or are they professional? And it's like, well, we have professionals play in the Olympics.
That's right.
We do.
We do.
Just look at the basketball team.
Right.
Hockey, and some other events. But great event, USASA.org. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. And it's just a great group to just get involved with. They're passionate about what they do, and it's a great community. And it gives those athletes who are not the main, not the football, basketball athletes, a chance.
Yeah.
Which is cool too.
So. Yeah, no, love hearing about that. Thanks for bringing that up. And are you expecting me to go?
Would love to have it. If you go, they could probably put you with a.
I expect you to buy the foursome.
Yeah, they would probably put you with an Olympian. So yeah,
yeah.
You get 3. Yeah,
yeah. There you go.
It's not bad. It's $150.
I think I've met Phil Vito at an event.
You may. He's
and I think it was at the NFL Alumni Association event that I was involved with in years past. But anyway, sounds like a great event.
Yeah.
I love golf.
Yeah.
next
early.
Friday.
Yeah, the 16th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about that, because I do leave. I have to check out of town on Saturday.
Yeah.
But
talk to Scott. He may need another person.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. All right.
We're a hole sponsor, so we'll be at a hole. So I'll be manning a hole that day.
Okay. Yeah. Doing the marshmallow puff thing?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Back to expectations.
Yeah.
It's what's your expectation for bringing that up?
to just create awareness. And I told them that I would. I said I'll do some live read on shows, and I've created a couple of commercials that
Create awareness, hopefully to get
Sure.
maybe even get somebody to come out that didn't know about it before,
Right.
like me,
Right.
or many other folks.
Yeah.
Great way if you're going to spend money and you're going to give money. You get a little something back. You get to play golf.
Mm-hmm.
You get to, and if you don't play golf, take it up. It's a great sport. It's a
Great
great
sport.
way to meet people. It's a great way. Pickleball, now that's another big one.
It's coming around, isn't it?
Holy cow! They're building like 75 courts down in Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Talk about a sport that's exploding. And I expect to someday maybe even try to play that.
Well, it's not as grueling as tennis because you don't have to cover so much ground.
Right. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard, and that's a good thing for those of us who can't cover a lot of ground.
Right.
And I still have to play doubles,
Yeah,
cover even half less ground.
That's right.
But so it's the expectation is try and create awareness and get some folks interested, and maybe get some more out there, and hopefully they haven't filled up yet, and so that's their space if you still want to join in. If not, get on a waiting list. I'm sure there would be one of those. As I've been on many golf outing committees, and almost always there's a waiting list. So,
Always, yeah.
But it's a great way to donate funds. But let's get back to this expectations, and I want to bring back into the business realm of things.
Yeah.
Right. When you build a business, when you first have the concept of a business, the expectations start growing.
Mm-hmm.
And they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then more people around you have expectations. And theirs grow as you get it. And you've seen me. I've taken a business concept at the end of January, beginning of February, and we're to the point of getting funded and going full bore here within a week.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind because it's a
Right.
it's a very short time frame.
Yeah.
And in putting this together, but the amount of people that have expectations right now are more than I ever could have imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And I have and there's many people who want to tell me, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. And it's like, you don't know what I'm doing now. So, I appreciate your interest and helping me, wanting to help. But you don't understand I have going on. Well, I know somebody who could do some brandy for you. No, already got it. What? And there's market. No, got that. And all the different aspects. But my expectations are to going forward is to start rolling out the business piece by piece.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I can't let all the horses out of the gate at the same time because all of them are going to turn their heads and look at me and say, okay, where do I go?
Exactly.
And because the expectations haven't been set yet, right? We already have the conversations, what each person is going to do and be doing for us, but we don't know all of the expectations because we don't know all that it's going to take.
Right.
With each aspect of a business. We're not just building a one-man, two-man business. We're building an international business where we're looking to get hundreds of thousands of clients quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not, I'm selling pencils on the corner here or whatnot. This is a much larger entity.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact whether you're a one-man truck or a 100-man business. All the expectations need to be set.
Yeah.
They need to be, and even if the expectation is I don't know what to expect, it can be that because you can't expect everything. You can't account for everything.
Okay.
Right. There's cost overrides on almost everything. And you need to account for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you better account for it going in because you can't get stuck halfway through building a business and saying I'm out of money. But all my numbers and everything we put together says it's supposed to cost $1.2 million to start this business, and now you're in for 1.7. maybe you borrowed $2 million and you've got $300,000 left and you're not even on the market yet.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So you need to account for all these kinds of things, but and expect those things to happen. But it's amazing how, like I said, we can't let all the horses out of the gate at once. We have to do each horse at a time, guide them, train them, have them understand what our expectations are. We understand what they can expect from us. For each person in each stage. Interesting conversation. So I met 2 state senators last week, and no, super nice women. But I met also with the Illinois controller people, so the money people and the commerce people and stuff. And I was saying, okay, I said, let me ask a question. What does this state do for somebody like me who wants to, I'm going to start a $5 million business here in Illinois. I'm going to establish a new business, but I'm not going to have a lot of employees. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to support a lot of local businesses and their employees and their families. What do you have in place for someone like me? Crickets. Well, we could help you get an SBA loan for maybe $100,000. Yeah. Exactly. And I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm starting a $5 million business and you're going to help me get a $100,000 loan. Appreciate that. Thanks so much, state of Illinois. I don't need the loan. I'm not asking you for money. I'm asking what kind of benefits can the state provide to me for doing this? And basically there was nothing.
Right.
Interestingly, though, I had my first infinite test of discrimination because the person said, well, if you had a partner and you were 51 or 49% and you had a partner, maybe he could be doing something. I go, well, I do have a partner and it's a she. And then the person perked up, goes, oh, well, we can do stuff now. There's some things we could do for you now. I was like, thanks so much.
Yeah.
But it's not tax benefits, and because I don't bring a lot of employees into play,
right.
They don't want to do anything for business people like me.
Right.
Yet I'm doing more to support other businesses and their employees. It just, I'm like, I just don't understand. I expected more. Right. I really did. I expected more. We have a governor that's bragging about, commercials about balancing the budget. Well, it helps when the federal government gives you several $billion, and you waste almost all of it. But we're not going political. I forgot. No. That's right. We can't do that.
No. Watch House of Cards.
Yeah. I got to watch that one.
It's actually pretty good. But that's where, again, those are the hey, I own this here. My expectations for bringing a business and creating this revenue stream in your state. Now we have expectations, but the state's like, nah, we don't have the same expectations for a middle-aged white guy owned company. Congratulations.
Yeah, you can do what you want.
Oh, wait, but my partner's, or my partner's a minority. Whoa, well, we've got things.
Yeah.
We give you $150,000 now.
Yeah, right. and you're approved.
Right.
It's every state's set up differently and has their own rules and regulations and whatnot. But it was a little bit surprising. And on top of that, what goes on in my mind is you're really not doing anything to help the small business owner.
No.
And that's the backbone of America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 88% of America.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that and then the big boys come in and they get tax incentives galore.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to hire 500 employees, or 250 employees, and you wind up only hiring 50, but we'll give you this huge tax and, TIF, that you don't have to pay. It kind of screwy. kind of screwy.
Well, I think that we're a lot of people are want to give the unspoken expectation because I'm afraid of being let down. And if Bill, I like you, and I want to win. I want everything to win. But if I don't say these expectations and I'm let down, or we miss, or we fail, then I don't feel so bad, and I can go. You know what? I really didn't lay out good expectations.
Yeah.
There's that sense of. However, if I'm like, hey, Bill, I really like you, but here's what I expect: A, B,
Yeah.
C, D, E by these time dates, and
Well, here,
measuring spots or whatever.
that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
It's part of the problem, not setting expectations, because when you have unwritten expectations, you can get away with stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So a corporate world, let's say, you hold this position and you manage, 10 people, let's say, and that's your job to manage those 10 people. But you know what? But we need somebody to do this over here.
Yeah.
Can you do that for us? And then we need this done too. Can you do that for? And that person all of a sudden is holding 3 titles, only getting paid for one. And when they don't meet the expectations in those additional requests, they get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. It happens every day.
That's not what
it happens every day. A growing aspect of the corporate world right now is bringing in specialists who will help you understand whether or not you're paying your employees the proper amount of money for the jobs that they're doing.
Right.
Right. So that also creates job definitions.
Yeah.
Right. Which creates job expectations. So it's a good point that you bring up, and we use that unwritten, unspoken expectation sometimes for nefarious things.
And sometimes, so I'll pick on your business coming up that you and Deb are putting together, and you've got this is not by any stretch of the imagination a small operation. And this is going to be global. This is a big deal. But you may have expectations of said department. Deb may have different expectations of said department. And the two of you haven't said this is what we expect.
Well, okay, so let's take it back to, okay, I'll have written expectations, which would be in my executive summary, right? And then I have unwritten expectations, right? So let's say my expectations are to reach 3% of the market saturated in the first year.
Okay.
All right, but in my mind, why can't we get 6%?
Sure.
Or 10%.
Right.
Right? But my true expectations are, okay, we're setting goals, right?
Yeah.
You need to set achievable goals, right? And because in their executive summary and their pitch deck, that's part of what you have to put in there. What are your expectations for market saturation, right? And typically it's between a 3 and 6%. I think if you're saying 6%, you're overstating, and you're reaching for the moon.
Yeah.
And we put in 3% because we wanted to dumb down what we think we can do.
Yeah.
Literally. So we use those types of numbers and for those types of expectations, because everybody's going to want to, what's the expectation? What do you hope to achieve this year, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
I've had people call me and say, hey, we can help you scale up. I said, okay, I'll listen to you, but I got to be honest with you. We have plans going out 3 to 5 years of growth.
Yeah.
That's just a building this.
Yeah.
So you want to help me scale it. It's going to scale itself. And business has changed a lot. The business world has changed, and a lot of people have not changed with it.
Yeah.
Right. We still have the dinosaurs running a lot of the major corporations.
So,
and people just aren't happy with the old school way of trying to climb the corporate ladder.
Well, you could take a look at that, and let's pick on a major bank had a lot of their during 2020 and into I would say the first half of 2021 allowed a lot of their employees to be remote.
Yes.
And then somebody said, everybody's coming back to work. Now,
Yeah.
the odd thing is, during that 18 months that everybody was remote, their production in certain departments went through the roof.
Yep.
Best in years or ever.
Yeah.
And this is a major corporation. Everybody.
Yeah, Fortune 50 banks.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Everybody else, you got to come back to work. And then people are like, I'm not driving from Kenosha to Chicago.
Right.
Or Kenosha to Milwaukee. Now, it doesn't make sense to me. But when I was remote, I could do this, and I produced a ton. And now you're saying I got to show up. Well, are you giving me a raise now, or
yeah? Because look at all this money I saved by not driving. Yeah. Right. Look at the wear and tear of my vehicle. Look at the wear and tear of me.
Yeah.
And you want me to drive into Chicago?
And production fell.
Are you kidding?
They lost a ton of people, and production fell through the floor.
55 people got shot in Chicago last weekend. I'm not driving to Chicago every day.
It was a good weekend. Low numbers.
Well, they only 11 died.
Right.
So that's how good they are shooting down there. But yeah, that's very true. And instead of climbing these corporate ladders nowadays, we refer more to it as a lattice. That you have different directions that you can go and climb up, but it doesn't have to be that one ladder that everybody's trying to get a piece of.
I like that. Yeah.
It allows for creativity, which is another thing that a lot of major companies have spent decades crushing creativity.
Yeah. The expectation. So you could use something like, I would say I'm a hybrid. I can work remote. I can work in the office for my position, for my 9 to 5. And it took me a long time in 2020 and 2021 to realize I don't have to punch in at 8 and punch out at 5.
Yeah.
And punch out for this. Hey, if I work a lot, and through that pandemic, there was a lot of evening work for what I do. And so, where if I had to be in the office, you work that 8 hours,
right,
which ends up being 9 to 10 with travel time and lunch and all that. And then I would go home, spend a couple hours, and you still had that work to do.
Yeah.
But for 2 hours in the afternoon, you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, talking to people around the bubbler, wasting time.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to understand that, okay, I'll give you 50 hours all week, but it may not be from 8 to 5.
Well, and you know what? And many companies have been flexible about that. Yeah. So let's give some credit out there too. Folks have been flexible and allowed for that because productivity was good.
Yeah.
Right. So, if the numbers are up, productivity is good, then, why argue?
Yeah.
Your expectations have shifted.
Yeah.
In this case. Again, plans change.
Yeah,
right.
And it's a tough thing, but you have to. I work in an area in the bank where there are people who are 9 to 5ers.
Oh yeah.
And they see me leave at 2 because I got a sales call or networking or something like that. And then there's a.
Well, yeah.
How does this guy get out at 2? Well, all right. You don't see me working at 10 at night either, but okay.
No, and because they expect you to be there just like
Correct.
They're there, right?
Correct.
And they expect you to go through what they're going through, and it doesn't work that way. We can always say, don't worry about others, worry about yourself.
That's right.
You can only control yourself and not others. It's just, it's a mindset.
Yep.
It's a mindset. Folks, set expectations. Set them for yourself, for your families. I know it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's not. And once you have something in place, you're going to feel a lot better. I guarantee you. Yeah. You got something to follow. You got ways to watch over it, to make sure you're staying on the right path. You will be happier.
That's right. Listen, that brings us right to the top of the hour. Another great show here. This is Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. And listen, my expectation is that you come back at 12:30 for questions you never thought you could ask in church, and then come back at 6 for the Slate Real Talk with Scott Dean. So all about movies, Hollywood, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
He's back from his trip to Bulgaria. Brand new episode right here tonight at 6. And my expectation is to like, follow, subscribe to everything Bill has out there, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, as well as us here at 216 The Net. Couldn't thank you enough for getting caught in the net, Bill. Have a great week. I'm going camping.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, and congratulations on your daughter again, and thank you all for listening in. Hope you got something out of it. And we'll see you again next week. Got a special guest coming in next week.